Yeah. So I don't know when St. Patrick's Day started getting big. It wasn't always that big of an event in the United States, was it? Even in Chicago.
Oh, it's
Well,
always that I remember, it's always been a big deal in Chicago. Always. As a matter of fact, I remember my mother, who was an older mother. I remember one of my girlfriends came over and she was wearing orange, and my mother, who was a very sweet, never got, was like furious at my girlfriend for wearing orange because it was St. Patrick's Day and you would never wear orange because that's like the Protestants, and you would never wear orange on St. Patrick's Day. And she actually told her to go home and change. I mean, that's how. So as long as I can remember, St. Patrick's Day was a big deal, at least in Chicago.
yeah, and
My daughter pinched me yesterday because I wasn't wearing green.
there you go.
Oh, well, yeah,
There you go. There you go.
absolutely.
No underwear.
Yeah, in Kansas City, they had a parade in the 19th century, 1874 through about the turn of the century, and then it disbanded and came back to life in the 1970s. St. Patrick's Day has been celebrated in the United States a lot more than in Ireland, actually.
Yeah,
For
exactly.
yeah, for a lot of years. Obviously, Boston, New York has a big parade. Chicago has a big parade. San Francisco has a lot of Irish there. Savannah, Georgia, has one of the
Yes.
one of the oldest parades in America, dating back to about the time of the American Revolution.
Yes.
So yeah, yeah. In some quarters, this parade's been St. Patrick's Day has been around for a long time.
Yep. Yep. Shlanta. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I heard him
So
say,
Dr. Co-
Cheers. Cheers in
Cheers.
Gaelic.
I
Yeah.
heard, what did they
Sláinte.
say? Like Ireland is like an island with what? It's not very big population.
No, only about 5 million people.
Yeah. And this was on CBS Saturday morning, I think, and it said like there's 70 million people who of Irish ancestry around the world, something like that. So I mean,
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
humans have been the biggest export of Ireland since the 1840s. Yeah,
So they've got
it's a sad truth. I'm
We've
one
got
of
a
them.
big diaspora.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
do.
Yeah.
Pete said he's going to be here in a little bit, but I think we should start.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Okay.
All right.
So the conversation.
Yes, the conversation is a 1974 movie from Francis Ford Coppola. Has a all-star cast of Gene Hackman, John Cazale, Alan Garfield, Cindy Williams, Frederic Forrest, Harrison Ford in an early performance, Teri Garr, who I barely recognize, and Robert Duvall. It revolves around a character that Hackman plays named Harry Call, who is a surveillance expert in San Francisco. And he is involved in eavesdropping on various people with, at that point, the peak of technology for that kind of thing. He used parabolic and different kinds of microphones scattered around, and then he takes multiple tapes and fuses those all in together so that they're audible when one part of the tape from one of the microphones might not have been good. So he's really extremely good, but he's also super private about everything and obsessive about stuff. He develops some guilt as he's doing this because he feels responsible for the potential consequences of the things that he's done, even though he is contracted just to make a tape and deliver it to a certain person. So he theoretically doesn't have responsibility for what's on the tape or what happens after the tape is received. He's just doing his job. But he catches a couple that, hi, Pete.
Hey.
We've been discussing St. Patrick's Day a little bit, but we understand that you were there. So
That's what I hear.
yeah.
He was in fine shape when I left him.
Yeah, excellent. So Harry Cole gets this tape, and he really identifies what sounds like a couple that's sneaking around behind somebody else, and he's afraid that they're going to get killed if the other person gets this tape. The plot goes on from there. I'm not going to go through the details. Hopefully everybody got to watch this, but it is a movie that foreshadows the surveillance that we are subject to today. And interestingly, I was reading about this. There was some concern. Coppola noticed that he learned that the surveillance and wiretapping equipment that was used for this movie was the same equipment that was used in the Watergate scandal. And he said that he thinks that's part of the reason this received such great recognition, but it was entirely coincidental. The script was written before the Nixon administration. The spying equipment used in the film was discovered by research that they did, and they there's a guy that they hired to advise them about this, on whom the movie is based in terms of the skill of the thing. Let me see if I can find that. This guy named Leon Theremin created devices like the Great Seal Bug, which at the end of this movie, where Harry was trying to figure out how they were listening to him, because he was absolutely positive they were bugging him. He tore his house apart, as you can see behind Bill. The bug that was created by Theremin was actually inside the saxophone. So he looked every place but in the instrument, and that's where it was the whole time. I'm sure they were bugging him. They got an earful from that. Also, it said that Coppola based the protagonist, on Hermann Hesse's novel Steppenwolf, whose character was Harry Haller, who was a total cipher who lived alone in a boarding house. And Coppola also made Call religious, originally intending the character to have a confession scene. Said that the practice of confession was the earliest forms of invasion of privacy and earliest forms of surveillance. So there were some interesting cross conversations here. They had a cinematographer, Haskell Wexler, early in the production, and then there were some creative and personal differences with Coppola, and he fired Wexler and hired Bill Butler. But they did completely reshoot the stuff that Wexler had done, except for the technically complex surveillance scene in Union Square. It was the first of two Oscar-nominated films where Wexler would be fired and replaced by Butler, the second being One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. So there's some interesting backstory there. Also, Coppola cited Blow Up as a key influence on his conceptualization of the film's themes of surveillance versus participation and perception versus reality. I'm just quoting from Wikipedia, but these are interesting backstories. The film had it made a little money, but not very much. I think it had a budget of 1.6 million, and it grossed about 4.4 million at that time, but it has been very well received. It was selected for nomination of the National Film Registry at the Library of Congress for being culturally, historically, and aesthetically significant. It won a Palme d'Or at the 74 Cannes Film Festival, and some other prizes. Let me see. Critical response. He got an 97% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Wow.
Roger Ebert gave it 4 thumbs up on his great movie list. Said Hackman was at his career peak, and writing of the film comes from another time and place in today's thrillers. They're often so simple-minded. So it was, I see the BBC also included it on the 2015 list of 100 greatest American films. And Hollywood Reporter ranked it 8th among the 69 counted winners of the Palme d'Or. So it was very well received. What is everybody's reaction to this?
Don't everybody go at once.
Yeah.
I'll go first. I actually just finished it. That's why I was late. I had seen this movie before, I think within the last 5 or so years, but I forgot I watched it. The opening scene, I guess, in Union Square, and I thought, oh yeah, I've seen this, but I couldn't remember the end. So I couldn't get on this call till I saw the complete ending of the movie. One thing I noticed at the very beginning, when he comes home at the initial, and he calls Mrs. Evangelista to complain about how she got that gift in her apartment, in his apartment. He's talking to her. He's sitting on the couch, and he takes his pants off, sitting there talking to her in his skivvies. And then a few minutes later, you see him playing a saxophone. His pants are still back on, and that happened after he had already come in the living room to take his pants off. So I noticed that. One of my thoughts was at the end, Hunter became the hunted. You know, all the tricks he used through the movie finally were turned back around on him. That's a great note about the saxophone. It reminded me of something. I used to be in the consumer electronics industry for quite a number of years. And there was a story, I don't know if it's true or just a great anecdote, but Nolan Bushnell, who founded Atari, and Wozniak, who was at Apple, were good friends, and they were known to play pranks on each other. And because of their intelligence and the industry that they were in, one of them planted in the other one's, or had planted in the other one's house, a little device that sounded a chirping like a cricket or something, but it would stop when you turn the lights on. So they put this device in his house, and the thing's chirping like crazy. And whoever whose house it was, they madly look around the house to try to find this thing. And once they turn the lights on, the thing would stop, and they could never find where it is. When you got a lot of money, you can do that kind of stuff. Another thought I had: what was the company? Was it just a public company? Was it a government? You know, the director was not CIA, but some intelligence aid, or was just a company with a director who had a lot of money and suspected his wife was messing around and hired Hackman to surveil his wife? And you know, I don't know if we ever saw I tried to look even on the building when they showed an outside shot, but I was going to go freeze it and look at it again. But I'm just curious what the company was.
I thought it was a private corporation. I mean, that was my assumption. I didn't see anything either.
Gotcha. The last thing I would say is at the very end, I thought maybe Hackman was victim of the Moran S5 harmonica device there, and that's how he got the recording of the saxophone. But I like the movie. A good movie. I really enjoyed it. And was this done before Godfather?
In between. It was. He did it after the first Godfather, but before 2.
Okay, so clearly, obviously, there's a few Godfather veterans in this movie as well. So,
Yeah.
Anyway, I enjoyed the movie.
Yeah, and Jeff, you talked about how he was nominated for an Academy Award for this, and the reason he didn't win was he won for Godfather 2.
Uh-huh. Okay.
Year.
Dang.
He was up against himself.
Yeah. Just this close.
Yeah.
Well, and now that can't happen, right? They
What?
I'm sorry.
can't have two directors can't have 2 shows up in 1 year, can they? Didn't they change that rule?
I don't
Oh, I don't know. Huh.
probably because of that. I don't know. Could be.
It was happening all the time.
One other thing I wanted to say was I don't think he was going to get his deposit back in the apartment.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think
I
so.
was cringing when he was doing that. I do property management, in case you guys didn't know, but
Oh.
there you go. Yeah.
I'm sure you've heard that before, right?
I had a very different reaction to this movie. I'm sure I didn't see it in the theaters, but I saw it back in the 70s. And back then I was sort of overwhelmed by the technology, and I thought, okay, this is just a vivid display of, Orwell in 1984 coming, and this film was a demonstration of what lie ahead, and I probably thought about that a lot until I watched it this time, and I thought, no, this is now more of a story about one individual and struggling with his own privacy and kind of an arc from being a very, very private guy who didn't care anything about the people that he was surveilling or anything like that, to somebody that got really wrapped up in their potential fate. And so I looked at this movie a lot differently. I'll call this the third or fourth time I've seen it than in the past. And I didn't recognize John Cazale for probably two scenes in it, because I was thinking of him, without glasses, and I sure don't remember Laverne being in the movie. What's her name? Cindy.
Cindy
Williams.
Williams.
Cindy Williams, yeah.
Yeah. I didn't remember her being in the movie at
I
all.
think she was Shirley anyway, not Laverne.
Well, I rest my case. So,
Yeah.
So this is one of those movies that kind of this is the classic Whitaker story arc, I guess.
I was really impressed at how Hackman became such a paranoid guy. He's had other roles. He really embodied that character amazingly. You just could sense his tension walking around and doing the things. He was always looking over his shoulder and always like guarding what he said to everybody. That was a good performance.
Jeff, you say that, and the part that threw me was why he accepted the invite to speak at the convention and then bring all those people back to his private lair. I thought, how out of character is that? I didn't understand.
Industrial pride. I think he thought, I am one of the top guys. They think I'm great. I'm going to hobnob with my peers who understand what I'm doing.
And
but
then
that
he
other
got
guy
taken down by the hooker.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
Completely.
that's what I thought too. I thought, boy, this guy is so closed. He's so afraid. He's so paranoid of everything because of what he does. A and B is, I think that wasn't there something that he did before that he recognized that what he did caused something. I forget now, but I remember thinking that, the reason why he's so paranoid is because he did something before and it ended up being a problem or an issue for someone.
He had a soliloquy about that in the movie.
Yeah. And so now he's so paranoid and so afraid, and now he's done something that he thinks, it's the same thing is happening over again. And he's getting a conscience, which he didn't. It seems like the first time he didn't have that conscience, and now he's got the conscience. And with that conscience came this paranoia about everybody. So he doesn't want to let anybody know who he is or what he does or where he lives or anything. And you can tell that by his relationships. Teri Garr, I loved Teri. I love Teri Garr anyway, but I thought she was so good as this kind of pseudo girlfriend that he came and saw every once in a while, but she didn't know it was even his birthday. And he just comes when he wants to come. And it was so one-sided. She was open and he was so closed. And then she finally said, enough. I don't want it. I don't want this anymore. So I just thought Hackman did such a wonderful job of being in that character. I really enjoyed it. I had seen it 1,000 years ago when probably everyone else did, but seeing it again, and I know the thing I really liked was the music. There's times where he just uses like a single note, that thing, that just builds that tension, because it's just a single note on the piano, but it builds the tension so much. And then it would go back when he was not quite as tense to being more like a, I can't remember the song, but kind of sing-songy. So the music really made a lot of sense too to me. But anyway, I thought it was, I really forgot how really good it was. So that was a good choice. You know, it was good.
Why did he get
David
mad?
Shire did the score for sake
Okay.
of completeness. He used
Well, it was,
musique concrete techniques.
well, it was just
Take-
so, it was different, but I thought it
Yeah.
was so good, Jeff. Yeah. It was just like, oh, when someone just does that single note on the piano, I don't know what it is about that, but it just kind of makes you feel tense, even if you're
Yeah.
not, you know.
It said he taped sounds of the piano and distorted them in different ways to create different tonalities for the score.
Oh,
So-
okay.
So it was
Because
altered music.
yeah, it just was had that quality to it. I
Definitely
was,
jazzy.
yeah, it was interesting. Yeah.
Why do you suppose that why did he get so mad at the guy who tried to give him the pen? The writing pen that was
Oh, he got him. That guy,
Bugged
became
him.
a buffoon.
Yeah.
Plus, he recorded him saying something pretty private to that.
Exactly.
Her
Yeah,
lady.
he did.
in the room, right? In the room. They were
Mhm.
all in the room, got him saying something private, and he didn't like that.
When he was back dancing with that girl in that
Yeah.
open area, back in his apartment or his office, rather.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
One
Yeah.
thing I thought was interesting was he had this see-through raincoat all the time.
Mhm.
Yeah.
To me, that makes you stick out because not everybody wears a see-through raincoat when it's not raining. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I thought that was like streets of San Francisco.
Yeah, it could have
Yeah,
been the San
yeah.
Francisco thing.
Oh, well, maybe that was it.
He
However,
wore that again.
I'm sorry,
He wore that again in another movie.
Enemy of the State.
Yeah, right.
Really?
And he wore that
Huh.
same coat and did the same routine there. But anyway, yeah, that got me. And then his name call bothered me, and I looked that up. And the definition of a call, and Jeff, you would know this, is the veil when the amniotic fluid sac births a baby and it's still there. So he's
Oh,
shrouded.
really? Huh.
And that I read, and this was a transcript of the DVD commentary by Coppola. It was purely a typo. It wasn't.
Oh.
It turned out to be really great, but that's what
Yeah.
that meant. But and they said, yeah, let's leave it that way. But he goes, no, it wasn't me. I didn't come up with that.
What was it supposed to be? Call with a K?
No, it's supposed to be Kall.
Oh,
Oh, okay.
Oh, Paul. Ah.
Harry
Okay.
calls on people, and Harry does this, and Harry is listening to calls, and that sort of thing. And
Huh.
Coppola was doing his screenplay by reading it into a tape recorder and then giving it to somebody to transcribe because he was so busy between the two Godfathers and stuff.
Huh.
And he got it back, and it was written Caul, and he went, "Wow!" But he said it was pure. He said he'd love to take credit for it, but it was a typo.
That's
By the way,
funny.
my wife's observation on this movie was that Cindy Williams should have picked Harrison Ford to mess around with and not the other guy that she actually.
I love your wife. That's great. That's great. It is true. I thought that putting Cindy Williams in the part was like a brilliant casting because of everyone that, and I'm sure wasn't with the Laverne and Shirley, that was before this movie, right?
About the
I
same
think it
time.
was.
Yeah, and I think her role in American Graffiti had something to do with her getting this call. I think.
Oh, okay.
And with Harrison Ford, because this is just 1 year after American
Right,
Graffiti.
right.
Okay. Okay. So because I thought, what, of course, when I look at Cindy Williams, I think of this naive, childlike, funny, character. and of course I'm putting that on her, which she doesn't, which she, it's not that character, but just because of her, just because of knowing her from all these other things, I just put her as this naive, childlike character, and then it turns out that she's the murderer. So I thought it was brilliant casting to put her in that, because that twist just made it even better, at least I thought.
The scene where the blood comes out of the toilet,
Yeah.
I was kind of like, was that supposed to be a dream sequence? Because he goes in there,
I think so.
he sees blood all over the place, but just in reading through Wikipedia, they interpreted it as really blood coming out of the toilet.
It could have been hallucinating it. Just, he wasn't thinking
Yeah.
clearly, trying to process what had happened.
Pretty
Yeah.
tough to. I mean, what were they trying to do? Flush part of him down the toilet?
Well, yeah,
That's
but
kind of what I thought. Yeah.
but I mean, if
Is
it was
that-
a hallucination, then the final scene wouldn't have been as necessary. But if he knows that there's a crime, then the final scene becomes necessary. That's why I was just reading. I mean, I was taken up until I just read the Wikipedia just before we did this, and I was like, I thought he was hallucinating, just like at the end he was hallucinating too. But then Wikipedia, they feel like that he found nothing until he found the blood in the toilet, and they said that remember the Duvall, he was killed in a car wreck is how they covered it up.
Mm-hmm.
So I just thought that kind of added a little twist to it that I hadn't really quite resolved in my own mind. So I don't know.
So they showed a body. They showed his body covered in plastic.
Right.
Somewhere toward the end of the movie. What did
Yeah,
maybe?
yeah, in a hotel room, probably in room 773.
Right.
Yeah.
Maybe the toilet. Maybe they just used a towel, a hotel towel, to clean up a lot of blood and tried to flush it or something, and
Yeah.
that didn't work.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's kind of what I thought, that there was something that, it looked great until you flushed the toilet, and then, everything backed up.
Because
all the blood.
Before he found the blood in the toilet, didn't he also see blood like on a curtain? And then it wasn't there or something. Do you remember that?
Well, yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
something like that.
That's
Yeah.
why I
Yeah.
figured he was hallucinating or
With the
imagining
toilet,
it
yeah.
or something.
He was so obsessed that
Me too.
he was not normal.
His
I think
mind was
that's-
just playing tricks on it,
Yeah.
basically.
He was
Yeah.
sort of doing the same thing he did in the last scene when he was in that hotel room. He started turning over every clue,
Yeah. That was good.
So why do you suppose that a movie like this that not that well received only makes $4 million box office? Why does it become such a acclaimed movie, like Best Picture of whatever Academy Award nominee? What happens there that is it because the Academy votes for the Academy? Is that what happens?
Well, I mean, it's damn good acting, number one in this. I mean, that's how I would
Yeah.
explain it.
Yeah,
I
I
think
think
that-
I think it was. Go ahead, Bill. I'm sorry.
Consumers, I think the vast audience doesn't always think about things so much, and they might, I'm being kind of condescending to the general public, but I think sometimes they don't really appreciate the depth of the acting or the depth of the story. And so, they ask their friends, it's okay. But the people who understand filmmaking and acting and so forth would say, well, this has great merit. So you get a dichotomy there between the broad audience and the very specific audience
Yeah.
that is expert in the field.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There go our followers. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
Pay no attention to those people.
Well, hey, I appreciate it a lot more now than I did when we started, just from listening to you guys. So I guess I'm part of the
Well,
dumb
well, you
audience.
know, I think some
Dumb.
too is that surveillance is such uh, an issue that we all kind of, wonder about, whether it's like right now TikTok, or when we're online or whatever. Who has all this stuff on us? Are they watching us on on our cameras? Is Alexa listening to us? All that stuff. And you look at a movie like this that's at the beginnings of kind of surveillance, with electronic surveillance, and then you kind of look at the way it is now. It's pretty scary. And I think even back then it was pretty scary that, wow, people can hear, even if you're trying to hide a conversation, they can hear you, they can see you, all that stuff. It's scary. It's just another way of pushing everyone else away, kind of,
That goes to Mahoney's Big Brother
yeah,
1984 comment
yes,
earlier.
exactly, Mike. Yeah. I mean, it's that feeling of, oh God, I'm being watched no matter what I do or where I go or who I see or whatever. And I still think, I mean, I know that my phone can tell whomever, if they look, where I've been and how long I stayed there and what I've done. And, so surveillance now has gone, gangbusters now. And back then it was scary. I think it was pretty scary back then. Now it's like, it's so scary that you don't even think about it anymore, because it's so
Everywhere.
much a part of us. Yeah.
Well, I remember as a kid, I'd get in all kinds of trouble, and now, almost everybody's got cameras on their front doors or somewhere on their house, and you can't even ring someone's doorbell and run away without getting caught.
It used to
Leave
be,
a flaming bag on there.
Yeah.
it used to
Can't do
be
that anymore. Can't do that,
listening
Jeff.
on a party line. That
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
surveillance
Oh,
in
yeah.
my day.
Right.
Oh,
And
yeah.
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 Yeah,
That's
That's when
right.
it all got started, I think. Or
Yeah.
the glass against the wall,
Yes.
whatever. But
Coppola
I
in
think
this DVD thing said that Watergate hit the newspapers right while they were working
Oh,
on the
that's
movie.
right.
And he said while they
Yes.
were between takes, he was just amazed that everybody was just totally engrossed in everything that had happened at Watergate Hotel. And he had no idea. He goes, "This is great. This has got to help the movie," But he had no
Yeah.
idea that was on the forefront and that he was a
Yeah,
hero too.
going back to the beginnings of this, and it's, Sanders, you might remember this. I don't even know if you were doing this, but back in the day when folks like Whitaker and I were doing radio news, and this would be classically 1974. We could take. We could take a cassette recorder and have an output from the earphone jack, and attach to two alligator clips. We would unscrew the mouthpiece of the phone,
Telephone.
attach the alligator clips to it, and send that into basically a broadcast quality piece of tape
Recording.
or a recording or an actuality from a fire or an accident or something like that. And I mean, that was 1974, pretty primitive stuff, but it was cutting edge in those days.
Yeah.
I just looked
Yeah.
up, this made $4 million. I just looked up American Graffiti a year earlier, made $140 million.
Oh my gosh.
An
Wow.
incredible difference.
Yeah.
I thought it may
Well,
have had something to do with the date of the film, and 4 million is like 150 million now, but even back then,
yeah.
a hit was a hit.
now the question.
American Graffiti was a mega hit. That was the exception of the rule.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
And it
four
had
still falls on the light side.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Yeah.
It needed Suzanne Summers in it.
You're right. You're right.
But
yeah.
add Teri Garr without David Letterman. So,
Yeah. Yeah, she was so good.
It seemed like when you guys were talking about how Coppola did The Godfather before it was sandwiched, I bet it was material from The Godfather that got him thinking about this movie, because there probably was all kinds of wiretapping going on these Italian families that he was, in The Godfather, that he was looking to like, oh, that would make a good movie, I don't remember him using wiretapping in The Godfather, but they might have, one of the three.
No, I don't remember. I don't remember any taps.
I remember taps on Gotti. Do you remember?
Yeah.
Yeah, there was a lot of taps on Gotti and that social club that he had, but I don't remember it in Godfather. No.
Casino had it.
Yeah, that's right. Casino.
In fact,
right.
I was just going to bring that up. A lot of those wiretaps, not certainly all of them, but a lot of those wiretaps that are portrayed in Casino happened here in Kansas City, in a couple of different places around town. And the reason they got onto the skim was because they were looking for illegal gambling and perhaps a connection to a murder. And the illegal gambling supposedly involved the Chiefs quarterback, Len Dawson, at the time, but he was cleared of all those charges. But yeah, all
weren't they
that
also tapping because of the pension fund?
that's that's how they learned about all of that stuff. What it was they were
was getting skimmed and going to Vegas from
right.
Savannah.
Well, yeah, it was a pension fund that was that they used to pay for the loans for all that.
The hotel.
Yeah,
the hotel.
Yeah, and in fact, one of the pieces of tape that they played in the big trial had the guy here in Kansas City. His name was Tuffy DeLuna, and he was portrayed as a big, heavy-set guy that had a fatal heart attack when they discovered his books. That didn't happen. Number one, Tuffy was a strikingly good-looking man for an older man, and did not die of a heart attack, but he did keep meticulous books. And his wife was a real estate agent here in town, and pretty good at it. So one day, one of these guys gets off a plane from Las Vegas, and they're up at the hotel, and they miscall. They call the incorrect number. Tuffy's got a phone that is Tuffy's phone. And the guy's real name was Carl. And then his wife, Marguerite, had a business phone and was also the house phone. Well, the guy who's bringing the skim in calls the wrong number, calls the house number, the real estate number, and Marguerite picks it up, and the guy on the other end says, "Hey, is Tuffy there? The sandwiches are here. The sandwiches are ready." And she kind of like half puts her hand over the mouth of the phone and says, "Colonel, tell your screwing friends not to call the house anymore," and hung it up. And everybody started laughing in the courtroom when he was getting pussy whipped by his wife over the phone call.
Great story.
Oh my God! What was his name again, Mike? Tuffy.
His name was Carl Tuffy DeLuna, and he was one of the more feared hitters in the Midwest. He was he had a partner here, Charlie Moratina. They were not to be jacked with.
Yeah. Yeah.
Except by his wife.
Yeah, exactly.
I like that. What was the telephone? How did that trick work? Where they were in that same meeting and they said that they would call the number or something and it would activate.
Oh yeah, and not let the last number, and then it would record. Yeah.
Oh, left off the last number.
You mean
Right.
Until they set a specific tone down the line from a little harmonica. You you blow that note and then dial the last number. Anyway,
Yeah.
and
Yeah. And I thought I'd heard of that before. It seemed like that came up one time, but maybe it just came from the movie. Well, that was a good show.
Yeah, thank you, Jeff.
Yeah, it was.
appreciate
It
that.
was
Glad you
really
enjoyed
good,
it.
Jeff. Yeah. I'd forgotten how good it was, but it really was good. And gosh, he was so good. Hackman. Just such a classic good actor.
I was wondering if you all would want to, like, say, this movie was a 10 or a 6 or something, just to kind of define our movies a little more. I mean, we don't have to or anything like that. It just seems like
That's interesting, Bill.
Everybody
it's
should
so.
write it on a piece of paper and then hold it up. It'd be like playing Indian poker.
yeah, we can have our own style for doing it. That's for sure.
Yeah, we could. We could.
Hey, Bill, I wanted to ask you a question while we got everybody.
Hmm.
Isn't your subscription about due again?
Yeah, it's in April.
Okay.
I was thinking about looking at, I have this the Office suite, and they have something in Office that's similar to Zoom. And I need to take a look at it and see if that would be an option for us. I mean, I don't mind paying the money, but if we don't have to.
Well, oh, you mean all the money or just 1/11th of
Yeah, well,
it,
no,
or 10th of it, or 9th of it, or whatever the hell it is.
Yeah.
actually paid, last couple of years, I've probably paid less than my share. There's
So the truth
some of you
comes out.
people are very
That
generous.
comes out.
I'm
Yeah.
not going to say who, you know who you are.
Yeah, but you're
Is it
sitting back there at the
Microsoft
dials
Teams?
making it all work.
Right.
Is it Microsoft Teams that's through Office?
Might be. Yeah, I think it is. Microsoft Teams. And it's
I've
Does
used
it
it
allow
before, but
recording?
huh?
I wondered if it allowed recording.
I think it does, but
I think it does.
so I'll take a look at it. I'll try to take a look at it. I'm very busy being retired.
Hey, but
No,
don't
no.
you have to pay
Aren't
for
we all?
Office
Aren't we
Suites,
all?
Bill?
I do
Don't
have
you have to
to
pay for the Office?
That's a good point, Pete.
I mean,
I tell you, actually that wouldn't be a bad way to go. If you buy Office Suite, it's $99 a year, but you could share that with, I think it's 5 other people.
Really?
Yeah. And
You-
it's a good deal. I mean, it's you get that whole suite, but you also get like a gigabyte of online storage, which I use all the time now. I use it all the time.
I hate clouds.
You hate the
Yeah, me too.
I
Me
don't
too.
trust
I
the cloud.
want it on I have a Microsoft computer, and every time I save something, it wants to go to the cloud or it's already gone there. And then for me to get it back where I want it, I have to go get it and get it back. It's just,
Where do you want it?
I want it on my computer. I don't want it in some fucking cloud somewhere.
I have it on both. I save it to my computer and it automatically backs up to Dropbox is who I use. But
Yeah.
Okay.
Why is it not conceivable that somebody could hack the cloud?
Oh,
I
yeah.
know.
I mean,
I know. See, who knows? Especially all these ransom things and stuff. that
Yeah.
are going on.
Yes. Yes.
All of a sudden I can see Microsoft. Oh, by the way, anybody that has anything in the cloud, say goodbye to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I used to not worry too much about this because I thought there's so much stuff out there. How could anybody possibly sort through it or make anything out of it? And now there's AI.
Right.
yeah.
True.
There's
So true.
Palantir and there's AI.
Yeah.
All right.
this
next week.
is kind of weird. I don't know if any of you guys use there's this app called Cash App that you can send money to people. And I've never used it. But I have a lot of tenants who want to pay rent that way. So I started setting one up and it said to take a picture of yourself. So I did. And it said, okay, we'll get back to you and verify your picture in a day or so. And today they said, okay, that's you. I went, what the hell? So,
Been verified.
They just went to YouTube and looked you up here.
Yeah, probably.
It's
Yeah.
you.
Jeff, did I just take it that you gave your own movie a 6?
No, I give it a 7.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Who gets to be the judge from East Germany?
Hey.
That will give
Yeah,
everything
really.
1.5.
Yeah.
So do we have next week's person here?
So it's
I
Donna.
think it's
Donna.
me, is it not?
Oh,
I
good.
think so.
It is.
We do.
All right, so a couple of things, and Bill, I'm just not sure. Did you guys already do Girl with the Dragon Tattoo?
Yes.
Did we?
You
Did
already did it?
Thought we did.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
Okay.
though.
I
There's
don't
two
remember my
versions of that.
2
There's
years
the-
or so
Wait,
on here.
hold on.
There's the Danish version, and then there's the American
Right.
version. Are you
There's
talking about the
yeah,
American
the
one?
Swedish and the American, and they're both really, really good.
We did it.
But
we
if
didn't
we've
do it
already
as-
done it,
We didn't do it as the pick.
we did
Okay.
not.
Okay.
No.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Okay, well then then let's go with the Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. I personally like the Swedish one, but that's in 2010. The American one is in 2011. You guys can choose either one. If you don't like watching subtitles, then you want to go with the American one in 2011 with Rona. What's her name? Not Rona. Rooney.
Mara?
Mara Rooney. Yes. So that's the one in 2011. That's the one with Daniel Craig, and that's the one that's, an American version. The Swedish version I think is really good. But whichever one you guys want to go with is fine with me, because they're
It's your
the
call.
I say you pick, Donna.
Yeah, you pick.
Okay, well then let's go with since I know a lot of people don't like subtitles, let's go with
I don't care.
2011.
Daniel Craig.
Yeah, Daniel Craig and Mara Rooney, or whatever her name is, forget.
Okay.
Anyway, yeah, there's if you can't, I mean, I've watched both of them. The Swedish film with the subtitles, actually the scenes where, and if you guys haven't seen it yet, there's scenes where she's abused and then turns that around. And it's way more in the Swedish version than it is in the American version, surprisingly so. But anyway, American version, really good. I read those books. I read all the books, and I thought they did a really good job of interpreting the books. Normally, I love the books more than the movie, but I thought they did a really good job with the movie. So, and it's kind of, if you haven't seen it, it's kind of intricate, and the acting is interesting, and it still takes place in Sweden, even though it's, there's no subtitles. It's just Daniel Craig and what is her name? Is it Rooney?
Mara Rooney. I think.
Mara Rooney. Thank you.
Mara.
The mind, I need Prevagen, for God's sakes. But anyway,
Are there sequels to that? Or
yes, there's
prequels?
actually 3. The girl with the dragon tattoo, and then there's the girl that I think hit the spider's nest or bit the spider's nest or something like that. And then there was another one. And I
You're
can't
making
remember
these up.
because again, I need friggin' Prevagen.
Now,
But
I think there's more than 3 books now.
oh yeah, there's more than 3 books, but
Now
only
there is,
3
yeah.
movies.
Even though the
Yeah.
guy died, the
Yes.
original author died.
Yes. Yeah, he did. Sten Lindquist, I think.
Yeah, well, Ian
But-
Fleming died 50 years ago, and they kept cranking out 007.
That's right. That's right. He's still,
Get a good franchise going.
Yeah.
his estate is still racking the money in for sure.
Shouldn't be
But
too
anyway,
long.
so that's my pick for
Good.
next week.
Does this
And-
count as a Swedish pick?
Pardon me?
I'm thinking for Matson if this counts as a Swedish pick.
Oh,
Yeah.
Well,
Oh, we got a few minutes.
Kinda.
Any recommendations?
Well, I heard all this conversation. I don't know if it'll be, if we can find it. I've seen this movie before, but when Mike was talking about the Kansas City mob and stuff like that, I saw this movie, Black Hand, Straw Man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really
Terrence O'Malley did that
interesting.
locally.
And I don't know how available it will be to get, but I would like to review it again. So
wow, I never even heard of it.
It's a doc about the Kansas City mob.
Oh,
Yeah.
I see. Okay. Okay.
Mike, Terrence O'Malley did that, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Brian's brother. And he also
Right.
What's it
did
called?
What
Black
About
Hand
Nellie
what?
Don, the
Straw
dress
Man.
factory here in town. So, yeah.
What's it called?
Black Hand, Straw Man.
Straw Man.
There's a book too.
Hmm.
That's a great story. Nellie Dawn's a great story, I think, too.
It is.
It is a good story.
Yeah.
I'll throw out just, you mentioned, you alluded to it. I liked Enemy of the State. I thought that was a terrific movie. I kind of lost a little respect for Will Smith after the whole slapping incident, but I thought that was a really good movie. And
Yeah, it
technology
was.
on steroids in that one.
Yes, that was really a good movie. Yeah.
And then I've got one that's kind of in that vein, that time, Clute,
Oh,
yeah.
yes.
which is, that's available on,
Loved Clue. You know,
it's
Fonda
on-
won the Academy Award for that, and she
Yeah.
was so good. Yeah.
Is that with a K?
Yes,
Yes.
KLUTE,
Jane Fonda.
Right.
Jane
Yeah.
Fonda and Don Sutherland. And it's on Tubi for free. So if you feel like a free one, there you go.
Good.
What are you saying?
I
It was
think-
1974 also?
No, it's that era. I think it's like 71 maybe or 72. I can't remember.
No,
Yeah,
I know.
I
I think it's more like 72, 73, 74, I think.
I think so too.
Yeah, maybe so.
I don't know.
I'm not sure, but it's in
It's-
that range.
It's that same vein of
70s. It's in the 70s.
71. It's 71.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, that's it.
There you go.
Thank you,
Um,
Internet.
Thank you, Mr. Google,
Mr. Google.
or Ms. Google, as the case may be.
Well, so
Yeah.
All right.
Pete and Mike will have a lot more time this week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I bet you guys start working on next year's parade this week, don't you?
Not this
Okay.
week.
Okay, you take a week off, then you start working.
Right.
That's what we tell everybody, but we're hopelessly procrastinating Irish. We'll put everything off to the last minute.
That's right. To the
If
last
we could-
minute.
Yeah, if we could pull the parade, March 17 parade off on the 19th, we try it.
Just gearing up for St. Joseph's
St.
Day.
Joseph's
Yeah,
Day. I don't think
exactly.
so. Yeah.
Well, we got the
I've never
whiskey,
heard
they
of
got the
St.
cookies.
Joe's.
What's that?
Well, we got the whiskey, they got the cookies.
Yeah, right.
All right. Anybody got any other ones they want to throw in there? Or?
I think we're good.
So you're
Yeah,
going to
we're
Las
good.
Vegas Wednesday, Bill?
I am. Did I tell you that? Was I telling you?
No,
that?
but you always
Oh.
used to go with Larry.
Yeah, we're going. We go out there for the first week of the basketball tournament, bet the games. But yeah,
Wow.
we're in that
I
one.
think
Maybe
stay-
he
I think
needs a new
I
pair of
picked that up on your
shoes.
phone when I was talking to you.
Where you staying, Bill?
We are staying at Planet Hollywood.
Oh. Good.
So that's
Go to
where-
the Sphere.
Huh?
You know, there'll be a new one of those in a few years.
Really?
All right, here, I got dinner waiting. I'm out of here. Good
All
pick.
right.
All right,
See
see
you
you guys next
guys.
week.
Thank you,
guys.
guys.
See you
All right.
next
They're
week.
tearing down the one that you're
Yeah.
going to, and it's going to be where Treasure Island is.
Wow.
Really?
Yeah.
Bye, you guys.
Thanks,
Oh,
Jeff.
Treasure
Great to
Island.
pick.
Oh, you were just out there, huh?
Yeah.
Wow.
During the Super Bowl.
Uh-huh. Huh. I mean,
Anyway, we'll have fun.
it doesn't seem like it's that old.
Yeah, I don't think it is, but they're gonna put another guitar in the air and tear
Yeah.
that down. It's still open right now, but I think it closes at the end of the year or something like that.
Yeah. We
You
got
can
a
knock it down.
reservation to go to Sphere.
That's
Yeah.
pretty neat.
Did you go there?
I didn't go inside it. I mean, I drove around it.
Yeah. Yeah, we got a reservation for that, and we got a reservation to go to Paris for dinner. But we've been doing that too. We've been going to the that Eiffel Tower that's, it's not
Yeah,
all the way to
yeah.
top, but it's up like 10 stories or whatever.
I've been up it. Yeah.
That's pretty good. It's better than where we used to go to dinner, which was over at Bally's or I forget.
Yeah, that is no more either.
Yeah. So it'll be fun. I'll get my movie in though.
Well, how's KU look?
Not good, but they're not Mizzou. So
No,
that's really bad.
that was
I
a
mean,
tough year. That was a
I
tough
was sitting
year.
there going, earlier in the season, Gordy he's like, one of his uncles, sends him an MIZ because they're like ahead in the third quarter or something like, like last.
Right.
He types him back. He says, "Yeah, but the game's not over." Sure enough, Mizzou lost by 20. And I had like that same feeling last week. I was like keeping an eye on the Missouri Georgia game,
They had a chance.
and they were heading the second half. And then I finished watching our game, and I went back to the Mizzou game, and they'd lost again. Like 10 or 15. And I'm going, wow,
They only lost by 5. It wasn't that bad.
Oh, okay.
But it was 0-14 for the
I
conference.
know, but anyway,
That was
no,
terrible.
we're in trouble. We've got our guys are hurt, I guess, but I don't know. I don't like this group of Jayhawks that much anyway, but
Well, the
I like
hurt
them
guys are
now.
supposed to be back by their second game, aren't they?
the hurt group,
Uh-huh.
yeah, they're supposed to be back. No, I think they're hoping they'll be back for the first game.
I mean, I knew they weren't going to be there for the Big 12 conference, but either the first game or the second game, they were supposed to be back.
Yeah, but the last 2 games of the season, including the conference, we got pounded.
Yeah.
It was like, ugh.
Boy, Iowa State surprised me.
Yeah, I didn't get to watch the game, but I was surprised that
30 points over Houston.
I mean, dude, pretty good.
Well, have fun. I won't keep you.
Okay.
We'll
All
talk to you
right, Mike.
later.
Okay. See you
Safe
Monday.
trip.
Okay. You
Bye.
have a good week.
Thank you.